It's a very cool time for TV animation with a lot of ambitious and unique series being made. Following up from the Avatar video I made a while ago, I want to showcase some new and upcoming animated series that have gotten me excited. Here are 5 new and promising animated series. First on the list we have Ark, a spin-off of the video game Ark Survival Evolved. While the game's premise of surviving a dinosaur-filled island may seem a bit familiar, the world of Ark has some heavier sci-fi and fantasy elements that help to give it its own identity. I've never played Ark, but the trailer for the animated series really grabbed my attention with its vibrant, fluid animation and well-choreographed action. The level of violence clearly establishes that this is targeted toward adults, and I always appreciate seeing an animated action adventure that aims for more mature storytelling. Ark is also noteworthy for its all-star voice cast. While I don't necessarily think that high-profile actors give better performances than lesser-known career voice actors, you don't make this kind of financial investment in voiceover talent in quality animation if you aren't confident that your series can be a hit, so I feel optimistic that Ark will utilize those assets to tell an engaging story. Ark is due to be released at an unspecified date in 2022, so we've still got a while to wait, but I recommend keeping tabs on it.
Something's not right.
What are you waiting for? Give the order.
Negative. Now stand down.
Second, I've chosen a series that builds on the legacy of one of my all-time favorites. Star Wars The Bad Batch is a spin-off / follow-up to Star Wars The Clone Wars. While I would definitely recommend watching the relevant Clone Wars story arcs before starting Bad Batch, the show is written to be accessible to newcomers. The series takes place just after the final season of Clone Wars and the conclusion of the Star Wars prequel trilogy in the early days of the Empire. The story centers on Clone Force 99, aka the Bad Batch, a group of abnormal clones with desirable mutations and augmentations. They're basically Star Wars version of the A-Team. These soldiers, who were created to fight a war that has now concluded, are forced to fend for themselves and figure out where they belong in a society that is quickly changing into something they don't recognize or understand. It's a compelling scenario that allows the story to explore both the ensemble of characters and the society that is evolving around them. By the end of its run, Clone Wars achieved a beautiful cinematic look to become one of the best-looking computer animated series ever made. The Bad Batch has maintained and arguably raised that standard of quality, with beautifully rendered worlds and great cinematography. Of the series on my list, this is definitely one of the more kid-friendly options, so it's an especially good pick for parents looking for something they can enjoy watching with their kids. There are surprisingly dark moments, but if your kid can handle the Star Wars movies, they should be okay with this show. The Bad Batch completed its first season on Disney Plus earlier this year and has been renewed for a second season, so now is a great time to catch up.
I'll get her.
No! Powder, look at me! What did I tell you?
That I'm ready.
That's right. So?
Next up, we've got another exciting video game adaptation. Arcane is based on the League of Legends franchise and is created by 2 creative directors from the game's developer, Riot Games. Don't worry if you don't know anything about League of Legends. While I'm sure there's plenty of fan service, as someone who went in with no prior knowledge of the franchise, I didn't experience any barrier to entry. The thing that really drew me to Arcane is the visual aesthetic of the show. The series has a beautiful, unique art style that is unlike anything I've seen and really pulls you into its imaginative world. It's cinematic with stylistic flair and awesome action. Beyond the visuals, the writing for the show has been great with a mature sensibility. Arcane has a TV-14 rating, which I think is a great sweet spot for this story. It doesn't feel like it has to pull any punches, but also doesn't go over the top with its violence or gore. It's an ensemble story, but the real heart of it is the dynamic of these 2 sisters who are pulled apart from each other and end up at odds in the midst of a class conflict between the upper city of Piltover and the undercity of Zon. Netflix has billed the show as an event series, with sets of episodes being released in 3 acts over the course of November. As I'm recording this, the final act is about to drop this weekend, so the season will soon be available to binge in its entirety. If you haven't seen any of it yet, you are in for a real treat.
Kids your age think they're invincible, and it holds them back, makes them careless. The thing is, you're different. You actually are invincible.
Fourth on the list is the recently released superhero series Invincible. Invincible is an adaptation of the long-running comic of the same name by Walking Dead creator Robert Kirkman. The series stars Steven Yeun as Mark Grayson, the teenage son of the world's most powerful superhero. When Mark starts to develop powers, he decides to follow in his father's footsteps by becoming a superhero with the humble name of Invincible. While there is more to the premise, I'm going to cut it off there and recommend that you avoid spoilers before watching the pilot. Trust me. Invincible was actually the inspiration for this list because it breaks the mold in some exciting ways. The show is an adult-geared action-adventure which already puts it in a select group within the landscape of Western animation. On top of that, every episode has a runtime of about 40 minutes, which is almost unheard of in animation. The combination of the format and the adult sensibilities make for a unique experience that will make you wonder why it has taken so long for someone to do it. I will note that the series is graphically violent. Depending on your sensibilities, that may either be enticing to you or off-putting. Personally, while I don't love gore, I don't mind it here because it's not used in constant excess as a selling point. The world of Invincible is a harsh and dangerous place where very bad things happen, but the violence has weight rather than being trivialized. Beyond the novelty, it's a well-told, engaging story that pulls you in and keeps you wanting to find out more. It's brought to life by an all-star voice cast, giving natural performances that help to ground the characters and add to the overall believability. The first 8-episode season wrapped up earlier this year, so you can watch the whole thing on Amazon Prime now. The series has already been renewed for 2 more seasons, so there's a lot more Invincible to be excited about. For the last pick on the list, I want to look more towards the future at a series in early development with a lot of potential. Walt Disney Animation and Pixar have both started to create long-form content for Disney+. While there are a bunch of cool projects expanding on familiar franchises from both studios, for this list I want to spotlight a new IP called Iwaju. Iwaju is a science fiction series set in a futuristic Lagos, Nigeria. Not a lot is known about the story yet, but it has been said that it will explore class, innocence, and challenging the status quo. Given the Afrofuturist elements, it definitely seems like the series will be reminiscent of Black Panther's Wakanda. I also think we can look to how Disney depicted the urban settings of Zootopia and Big Hero 6's San Francisco for a hint of what we can expect for the reimagined Lagos. The show is being produced as a collaboration between Disney and Kugali Media. Kugali is a Pan-African entertainment company who tells stories inspired by African culture through comics and animation. The collaboration is very promising because it brings together the experience and resources of Disney with the different cultural sensibilities and perspective Kugali offers. Iwaju excites me not only because of the project's potential, but because of how it may help Kugali to grow and develop into an animation powerhouse. That wraps up my list, but there are definitely more worthwhile animated series out now and coming soon. Please let me know what other shows you're enjoying and looking forward to. Thank you very much for watching, and if you liked what you saw, please like, comment, subscribe, and tune in next time.